when I was starting out as a writer, I mean, for instance, when I wrote Midnight Children, I had a desire to, first of all, to write a novel about childhood, about where I would use the experience of my own childhood in Bombay in India, and then it grew from that as the subject of history attached itself to that. Gradually, when I had the idea that the boy would be born at the same time as the country, at that point, the boy and the country kind of became twins, and then it became necessary to tell both the stories, both the country, both twins' stories had to be told. So the book became much bigger than my original idea. But at least I started out with an idea that I wanted to write a book which came out of my childhood in Bombay. I mean, sometimes I've had a more or less directly political inspiration. For instance, when I wrote the next novel, Shame, or when I wrote, which was about Pakistan, it took as its starting point this strange dispute between the civilian prime minister, Mr. Bhutto, and the general that he appointed, Zia-ul-Haq. And the general became, instead of being his protege, ended up being his executioner. And that was such an interesting event that I used that as a starting point and then fictionalized it. When I wrote Shalimar the Clown, one of the big motivations was to try and write about the tragedy of what's happening nowadays in Kashmir, which is where my family originally came from. So yeah, sometimes I would have a sort of clear idea like that, but what I find is more and more I'm just following little threads of ideas and trying to see where they lead.